Hey, I just got this gym, y'all. I am tired. I'm exhausted. It's late at night. You already know I go at 4 in the morning. Then I had to come back again because I just ate too much today. But anyway, that's here nor there. I was on a treadmill and the spirit just kept like just dawning on me. Go make a video about your story. And I just kept saying, oh, it's so long. And the spirit just kept come back saying, it just began. Go make a video about your story. So I got off the treadmill, didn't even finish my workout to come and make this video. I am tired. I am sweaty. If you don't like long videos, click off now. So let's jump right into it. How did I get on this journey with God? Let's start off by saying I was not born and raised in no church. My parents never told me about God. I had not read no Bible or anything like that. I remember growing up, the neighbors, when I go to my aunt's house, had like some little Bible study thing. We were so young and kids, but besides that, like, I didn't know God at all. Didn't pray before, like, we didn't have to pray before we eat, pray before we go to bed. None of that. I had no relationship at all with God. And it all started when I was around like 14 years old. I wanted to go hang out with this girl, and my mother was very strict, so it was a school night. So I had the girl and her mother was going to church. It was like on a Wednesday or something like that, some type of Bible study thing. So my mother agreed, oh, I guess you can go to that. So I went with the girl. I didn't go for God or go to study the Bible. I went to hang out with the girl. So we get there to this church. And there was a pastor there who came from another state. He was just only there for like a week, and he was just praying. And so he had, I guess, had told the church, you guys bring your bottle of water up to the altar and leave it here while he was here. And every day, I think they did worship. I think it was like every day they went up there. Every day they would just pray over the water. I think I went one time. I think I went again. And because I remember I had brought water for my grandfather. So I think it was his last day there or something like that. He had asked everybody, whoever wanted to get prayed for, come up to the altar. The whole church stood up. The whole entire church stood up. And they were going down the aisle headed towards the altar. And my friend, we looked around. We were the only ones sitting. And so she was like, come on, let's go. And I'm like, girl, I ain't come here for that. I did not come here for this. I just came to come chill with you. Finally, she convinced us to go. Convinced me to go. And I was the last one in the line. And the men would like talk in tongue and touch people, like, touch them on the forehead, talk in tongue. They would leave. Next one, same thing. Then it came to me, and he went to touch me. I'm sitting there like this, like scared as heck. And he stops. And he says, do you like to sing or dance? And I'm like, no. Like, he can tell in my face I was, like, very nervous. And I was like, no. And he was like, you got a gift. You need to find God. And I remember him just looking at me, just staring at me. He wouldn't touch me. He would not touch me. And he could see I was very nervous. And he said, go sit down, find God. I was so scared, y'all. I probably could have peed on myself. I went and sat down. I didn't go home. I didn't talk about it with nobody. I just let it go. Because like I said, I didn't know nothing about God. Like, what do you mean find God? What do you mean got a gift? Like, that was not normal to me, even like 14, 15 years old. Because I had no relationship with God. No one ever really sat down and talked to me about God. Like, that was not something that was taught in my household. So it was very, very weird for this total stranger to come tell me I had to go find God, if I like to sing or dance. Like, so I just brushed it off. Life went on with my life, walking in darkness, because I didn't know nothing about the light. So smoking, drinking, partying, hanging out, fighting, gossiping, just everything you could think of as a young girl with no direction, and not walking in the will of God would be doing. If you can imagine, that's what I was doing. For fornication, all of that type of stuff. So it came again. I was pregnant when I was about 21 years old. I was pregnant with my son. I was in college, and I was waiting for my next class to come. So it was like me and a group of girls. It was like every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I think it was like an English class, and we would sit in like the lobby area to wait for the class to come. And I remember we was in like, it was like couches, and I'm sitting with my back towards the hallway, and I'm talking to the girls. They all like in front of me, and I'm just sitting here talking to them. And then out of nowhere, I noticed that they're no longer looking at me. You see how I'm looking at y'all through the screen? They stopped looking at me, and they're looking away. So now I'm like, what are y'all looking at? So I turn around. I kid you not. It was this lady. It was like an older black woman. She was dark skinned. She had an afro, and it was gray. And she had a part right here. I kid you not. When I tell this story, I always say she looked like something straight out of The Color Purple. No disrespect. Very older woman. You can tell, like, strong black woman. She was standing behind me. She had a black coat on, a long black coat. It was and she had on a jean skirt, and she had a rolly book bag. You know, the book bag that kind of looked like a luggage. It's on wheels. That's what she had. And she was standing right behind me. Like right here behind me. And I turned around, and she was behind me crying. So now I'm like, what the heck? So I remember I had on a blue polo hat, and I just washed my hair. My hair was in a bun like how it is right now, in a bun. And I was like touching my hair, like, what the heck is going on? Something wrong? Did I say something wrong? What's going on? And she walked around this side, walked around on my right hand side. And she walked around. She's just still looking at me crying. And she sits in front of me, and she just would not stop staring at me crying. And she looked at me, and she kept saying, she just looking at me. Then what she ended up doing was so weird. She started smiling. She crying, looking at me, smiling. And my homegirl, who I was talking to, just so happened to know her from church. So now I'm like, yo, what's wrong? I'm looking at the lady. I'm saying to her, what's wrong? Do I know you from somewhere? What's wrong? What's wrong with you? And she looked at me, and she said, you have a gift. Go find God. You need to find God. You have a gift. You have a gift. And I'm like, I got a gift. What gift? You don't even know me. How I got a gift? And so my homegirl sitting next to her, she go to church with her. So now she's starting trying to prophesy and all that. Like, yeah, she said, you need to find God, Brittany. You need to go find God. Da, da, da. And I'm like, huh? Please. I did everything but find God. Had my baby, on so many videos I've been saying, I had my son out of adultery. That is not true. I had my son out of fornication. So yes, I did not find God. I had my son out of fornication. He was born out of wedlock. I was drinking, smoking, just everything you could think of. I did not find God. Once again, he sent somebody to me, did not find him. And continued on with my life, walking in darkness, walking down that big broad gate until one day. So it was in 2000. How old? I can't even tell you how old I was. I was probably like 26. Yeah, I think it was like 26, 27 years old. Like, yeah, like around 26. I would never forget this. I went to my brother's. At the time, they didn't have no kids together. But this girl he was messing with, I went to her house with me, my son, and my nephew. She was cooking. I went to her house. She got a lot of kids, and the kids were all playing around. We ate, and then I dropped my nephew off at his grandmother's house, and then I went home. I did not drink. I don't do drugs. At the time, that's all I did was drink. I don't drink no more. I don't smoke no more. I used to just drink and smoke cigarettes. I did not drink. I did not smoke. I was sober. I think it was like a Sunday or something. It was just chilling. We just, me and her, and letting the kids run around and eat. We go back home. My son sleeps in my bed. And we in the bed sleep. And then out of nowhere in the middle of the night, I wake up. I just wake up, and I started walking. towards my front door. And then I just fell. I like dropped to my knees and I just started saying, I'm tired. Like, I'm tired. 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 Like that. And then I remember that's when God first spoke to me. And he said, you hurt some people and you need to apologize. Exactly like that. And when I tell y'all, for all the newbies, when I say that God speaks to me, it's not like how you're hearing me through the phone. Hey, how you doing? No, that's not how it is when the Holy Ghost, when the Holy Spirit is speaking to you. That's not how it is when God is speaking to you. That's not how it is. It's all eternal. It's you. Anybody who have ever experienced that, please drop down in the comments. Just to clarify what I'm saying, because I gotta keep going. So he said, you hurt some people and you need to apologize. And I remember like hearing it, and then immediately I'm thinking to myself, who did I hurt? Who do I hurt? And I'm trying to think of people in my head. The people all came to me one by one by one by one. And I remember I sat up on the floor. I crawled over to my couch, sat with my back up against my couch, and each one of them, I reached out to them. And I was like to send a message. And when I tell you, when I was typing my message, my hands were moving, and it was like I had no control over my hands. They moving, texting, and I had no control. And then I remember I got up after I was done and I laid in the bed and went to bed. I woke up the next day and I was like, what happened? I just knew that something supernatural happened to me. Something happened to me. And I knew I was not drinking. I couldn't blame it on no Henny. So I was like, listen, I gotta go find God. So I remember I didn't have no Bibles in my house, because back then I was messing with this dude who mother had taught me voodoo. I was messing with voodoo. I used to worship other gods. I was going to see astrologists and all them people reaching hand and all them fortune tellers and all that stuff. I was at the Putonica. I had candles and all that stuff, lighting it for other gods, and I was doing I'm telling you, I was doing some crazy stuff. Okay, so I had to go to my mother's house. And I don't even know why she got so many Bibles and she don't even believe in God. But anyway, I went to her house, I got a Bible. And I said, I opened it up. It was a King James version. And I remember the words were so hard. I couldn't even, and I'm bad with names and stuff. So I was like, God, I'm going to read this. I said, anything I don't know, I'm just going to skip over it. And so, like any word I couldn't pronounce, I'm just going to skip over it. And so I remember I started reading it. I started reading and reading. I can't remember how long it took me. I just remember once I was done, it hadn't been no more than 2-3 days, or 2 days or something like that. Like 2 days, I read the book. And then I remember when I was done, I was in my mother's house in one of her spare bedrooms, sitting in the dark. And the voice came back again and said, now I want you to give up everything. So and then it said, I'm going to warn you 2 things. 1, don't give it to nobody you don't know. Don't give it to nobody you know. Don't give nothing to nobody you know. And the second thing was, they are going to talk about you. And I remember I jumped up, turned the light on, because I'm like, yo, now I'm like, I got to be tripping now. I know I wasn't drinking then. I'm reading the Bible. I've been reading the Bible for 2 days trying to figure out what happened to me the other night. So I'm not drinking, okay? I know I'm sober. I'm sober-minded, okay? So, and I'm like, what is this? I don't know. Ain't nobody at that point in my life. I'm 26 years old, 27 years old. Nobody had never told me about God speaking to you, the Holy Ghost, Holy Spirit, nothing. So now I'm like, what is this that's going on with me? You got to understand, like, what? Want me to give up everything? I'm like, what? I didn't steal none of this stuff. You know, like, why do I have to give up everything I have? So I spent the next 3 days like searching through the Bible to figure out why would God ask me to give up everything. And then I kept seeing stuff about sacrificing, sacrificing obedience and things like that throughout the Bible. So I was like, you know what? I dwelled on it. I sat, I meditated, and I was like, you know, I'm just going to do it. I said, because one, what do I have to lose? I'm unhappy in my life. I get up, I'm drinking like, man, I was drinking so much. I was around, I'll get to that part. I was around some snakes. So I was like, you know what? Let me just do it. Let me just do it. Whatever, whatever. And I kept saying, cause I remember him saying, they're gonna talk about you. So I'm thinking people on the streets. I'm thinking like girls. Oh, like, you know, that's what's in my little carnal mind at that time. So I'm like, okay, if they could say anything like, what? I worked hard for this. Like, you get what I'm saying? Half of them wasn't even where I was at anyway. So you know, that was the type of mind I had back then. I'm thinking he's talking about them. So anyway, I called my mother because my mother owned houses. I was living in one of her houses. And I said, Ma, I'm leaving. You can come and rent this place out and get you some money. I said, I'm gonna come and I'm gonna move into your basement. She was like, huh? You could tell I threw her off. Cause she's like, you about to give up. At the time, I've been in that place for about 4 or 5 years. She's like, you about to give it up? It fully furnished everything. And I said, yeah, I'm gonna give it up and you can rent it out. I'll just come stay in your basement with my son. My mother was blown. She's like, all right. So, make a long story short, fast forward, I found some people on the streets and I said, hey, come get my stuff, whatever, whatever. At that time, that's when it dawned on me. That's when it dawned on me that how real it was when I started seeing these people taking the stuff out of my house and everything like that. And then that's when I started to see what he warned me. It wasn't people on the streets talking about me. It was the ones closest to me. My mother called me crazy. My brother called me crazy. I remember when it was a group of people at my house taking the stuff out. My family, my friends, my neighbors, they all was in front of my house. Well, across the street in front of my house. I remember out there laughing at me, saying that somebody put a Molly in my drink, saying that I was on drugs. Mind you, they knew I was no drug addict. These is people I used to drink with. They know I didn't do drugs. And yet and still they were saying these things about me. I remember just always crying. So many people turned on me. They stopped calling my phone. They stopped hanging out with me. I remember there was this girl who I used to hang with. I remember one time she said, yeah, I heard about what you did. She was like, I just told myself she doing that for attention. These are the things that they were saying about me. And the crazy part about this whole thing, right? Up until that point, you know, no one never ever asked. Still to this day, no one never ever asked me, Brittany, why did you do that? What did God say to you? Nobody said no. Still to this day, not one person walking this earth ever sat down with me and said, why? What did he say to you? No, they don't. Nobody. They just all talked and had everything bad things to say about me. So I did it out of. I don't even know. I can't even sit there and say I did it out of faith because I didn't even know God. I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know. I don't know. I just did it. I mean, I believed it was God. So maybe you can say it was faith. I don't know. Maybe you can't say it was faith. Maybe you can say it was faith. I don't know. So anyway, let's keep going. So fast forward, everybody left me. I gave up. I gave up my apartment, everything in it, stove, refrigerator. I mean, everything was gone. I left that apartment with 2 trash bags of clothes for me and my son. Everything was gone. Couches, TVs, fireplace, everything. And then I moved in with my mother, and my mother woke up one morning on her way going to work and went across the street, and she seen I had gave away my bedroom set. That was the last thing there, because I was thinking that I could take the bedroom set and put the bedroom set in her basement. But she called me and said, she called me that the day before and had told me that the bedroom set could not fit. And soon as I hung up the phone with her, I was like, that's when God said, like, it dawned on me. The voice came again and was like, didn't I tell you give up everything? So when it dawned on me, that's when God had put this girl in my head, some Spanish chick I had met a while back in Walmart in Chicopee. She was a cashier. I didn't even know the chick, but we happened to exchange some information because I was doing I was planning on doing some type of giveaway with some shoes, and she had kids. So that's how I got her Facebook. I didn't even know her, I didn't even have her phone number. So when she dawned on my head, so I'm like, wow, it's crazy. So I'm going through my phone, going through my Facebook. I find her. I call her on Messenger and I say, yo, remember me, da-da-da, come see me, come check me. I gave her my address. Her and her husband came. I'll never forget this day. We sitting in my house and I'm talking to them, telling them how I got up to this point where they in my house and I'm giving them my bedroom set. God told me to call them. The girl looked at me and said, you know we sleeping on the floor? That's when I was like, I started screaming God's name. Because then now I know I'm not crazy. Despite what all these people talking about me, my family, my friends talking about me, I know at this point I'm not crazy because it wasn't on me to give it to this girl. I didn't even know her. You understand? And then it so happened to be, she's sleeping on the floor. So I already knew that everything I was doing, I was aligning it. I was doing what I was supposed to be doing. When I tell you, that was confirmation number 1. Confirmation number 2 was I gave them a whole bedroom set, a whole queen size bedroom set. These people moved my whole entire bedroom set in a little Honda Civic. They went and got one of their cousins, uncles, some young men. And all 3 of them moved the whole entire bedroom set in a Honda Civic. That's how you know you need it. I don't know how, that same night. They didn't say, oh, we'll come back tomorrow with a U-Haul truck. Oh, no, can it stay here until we get our uncle come and help us till we get some movers? They, dumb 3, took that bedroom set apart right then and there and moved it in a Honda Civic. That was confirmation number 2. You gotta really need something like that. A whole bedroom set to move it. I mean, I'm looking at them through the window, putting the dressers and all that on top of the roof, piling it, them 3 on this little old car, coming back. They did at least about 4 or 5 trips. Then, while we there, right, the last thing was I had this like 55-inch, 60-inch flat screen TV. It was sitting there, and I looked over at the TV, and something said, give it to him. So I turned and I said, y'all got a TV? Yeah, I was like, y'all could have a TV. She looked at me and said, you know my TV just went, like the color went out yesterday? That was confirmation number 3. And so I was rejoicing because I was like, yes, I am not crazy. I know, like, what I'm hearing is really God. It has to be a God. Because how is this even possible? I don't even know these people. So I lock up the place and I go to my mother's house, and now I'm asleep. About 6 in the morning, we fast forward now, 6 in the morning, all you hear is doom. The door where the room I was sleeping in, the doors fly open. It's my mother. She fling on the lights. Are you crazy? I'm like, what? She like, you done gave away that bedroom set to these people, and you know Tia need a bedroom set, and you gave it to. And I'm like, girl, I didn't say girl. I said, Mom, God told me don't give it to nobody I know. She said, you done gone crazy. She was like, you done gone crazy. One time she even said to me, I want to know what church you going to. I need to speak to these people. You've gone crazy. You've gone crazy. Like, she just kept calling me crazy, And I'm just sitting here. Mind you, she get up at 6 in the morning. So this is 6 in the morning. I'm tired. I'm already got 101 things in my own head because I don't even know what I'm doing. And then I got you attacking me. It's like, yo, so now I'm just sitting here like, God, what's going on? So I remember she was going downstairs because she had to leave to go to work. And I just remember her yelling and yelling. Once she got to a certain point, I could tell she's still talking, but it was kind of like I couldn't hear her no more. it was kind of like she just blacked out. But I know she's down there talking. I know she's down there screaming. I know she's down there mad. But I couldn't hear her no more. So I walk over, which is her room, which is across the hall. So I walk over to her room. My son was in her bed asleep. And I remember I just sat at the edge of the bed where he was at, and I just started crying. And I'm saying to God, I was like, God, you asked me to give up everything just to be beefing with my mother. Like, what, like I wouldn't have gave up this for all this drama. Like, you know, like you bad enough. All the people around me call me crazy. Now my mama called me crazy. My friends done left me. Like, I like, really, like, this is why you did this? And all of a sudden, God spoke to me again. And he said, about time I'm done with you. He said, I'm going to leave her like this. And it was a picture of her. It was like, this was all in my head. It was like it was of her. It was an image of her and of her mouth driving up somewhere, and her jaw dropped. Like, she was like this. It was exactly like that. It was just an image of her with her mouth like, he said, about time I'm done with you, I'm going to leave her like that. That was his exact words. And so I remember I cried. I hugged my son. I just went and laid back down. Then I left her house because it was just so bad. Like, you know, people like calling you crazy when you know, one, I'm not crazy. Two, I'm not on drugs. Like, just ask me what am I going through versus like judging me. Like, still to this day, y'all, not one person I know, not one person walking this earth ever asked me, hey, what did you hear? What happened? Come and sit down. Let's talk about it. Everybody judged me. Everybody up and left me. So at this point now, it's the end of October. I left my job, and now only thing I had left now was my car. I remember I kept calling the bank, harassing them to come get this car. I don't want it no more. And they're giving me such a hard time. And I'm like, hey, now if I would have missed a payment, y'all would have been down here kicking down my front door. Now I'm telling you to come get your car, and you don't want to come get it. But finally, like a week or two later, they ended up coming and get it. It was like the first week of November. I remember they came and got it. So by the first week of November, at this point, I had nothing. I had no car, no job, and nowhere to live. I had absolutely nothing. I went to stay with my cousin. And that was a whole nother story. I'll tell you about that one. And it didn't work out. She fell short. Satan got her. And I had to come back to my mom's house. I end up back at my mother's house. Fast forward, now it's Thanksgiving. I had to turn this car on because this phone about to die. It's Thanksgiving at this point. And I just remember, hold on, because the phone about to connect to the car. So at this point, I remember it was Thanksgiving, and my son just went with his father. So, you know, it's like Thanksgiving usually like on a Thursday. So he just went for the whole weekend with his father. And I remember I was sitting there on Thanksgiving, and I remember I was just like to myself, it had to be like around 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon. And I remember sitting here thinking like, dang, ain't nobody called me. And I remember I was just crying. I was in the back of my mom's house smoking up all those cigarettes, because that's what I used to do, was smoke cigarettes. And I remember I was just chain smoking cigarettes. I think I was still drinking too. And I was depressed. Because I just gave up everything, talking about God told me to do this. I felt good when about the thing with the girl. But of course, whenever you are doing God's will, here come, who, we ain't gonna give him no, like, Satan, him. He come to try to stir up and get you to stir away from what you were doing. That's how you know when you're on the right path. Just like, let me just step back for a second. Y'all see how I said when I gave up the bedroom set and I gave up everything, how I felt good in the moment because it felt like I was doing what I was supposed to do. And then that next day, that morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, here come my mother. that was nothing but a demonic spirit in my mother that caused that to try to attack me. And that's just confirmation for somebody, that right there, that's how you know you're on the right path. That's how you know you're on the right path. When one minute you know you get the confirmation from God, and then out of nowhere you got people talking about you, trying to tear you down. Just when you just got confirmation from God you were doing the right thing. That ain't nothing but saying, keep going. Anyway, Thanksgiving came, I realized, wow, that's when it hit me again. Everybody gone. My phone went from ringing every day. I got people around me every day, and it went from ghosts. Like, nobody called me. Nobody called to say nobody walking this earth called me to say happy Thanksgiving. Hey, you want to play anything? Nobody did nothing. And I just remember that at that moment, I had called my husband. My husband wasn't my husband then. He was just a guy I was like, talking to or whatever. And I remember I called him. He used to live about 4 or 5 hours away. And I called him and I was like, hey, can I come by? And he was like, oh, of course. I was like, I don't have a car. At this time, he didn't know I gave up everything. He didn't know nothing about nothing. And he was like, oh, don't worry about it. Within 3 minutes, the most, he'd send me a screenshot of my Uber, my bus ticket, everything already paid for. He was like, go. I remember just hurry up, running upstairs trying to hurry up and grab a bag, jumped in my Uber, got on my bus, head to where he was at. Finally, by the time I got there, I sat down with him and I told him everything. I laid everything on the table. I was like, God told me this, and then by the time I was done, I looked at him and I said, do you think I'm crazy? He looked at me and said, no. He looked at me and said, no. And then I remember I quoted a scripture out of the Bible. I know it's from Matthew. I want to say a rich man going through a needle eye is like a rich man going to heaven is like a camel going through a needle's eye or something like that. But I remember as I was saying the scripture, right in the middle, he finished it. And then it was just like a warm feeling. And so he had already proposed to me a while back, but I was too carnal minded. I was chasing the wrong person. Satan had me over there laying with a snake. So anyway, once God started to clear house, because once God had instructed me to give up everything, everybody left. I ain't have to tell nobody to leave. Everybody up and left me. And so I remember sitting with him and I apologized for everything I did, and he gave me my ring back. And then I remember I prayed. I went back home about 3 days later, and I remember I prayed and I said, God, is this my husband? And 3 days later, my God came back to me. I was in my mother's house, just put my son on the bus, going down her stairs. And the Spirit spoke to me and said, that's been your husband the whole time. He said, that has been your husband the whole time. And and a few other things about us going to, God promised me I was going to go to a graduation of a doctor, a lawyer. It was some other things that God was telling me, whatever. But so the next month I married him. I married that man, despite the fact that I was not like in love with him. And I married that man in some sweatpants and a jean jacket, hair all cut off. I lost all my hair. I was in that season, y'all, and it was just pure faith that had me going through that. And then fast forward, the next year, my brother died, May 18th. That took me for a whole whirlwind. And that's when God spoke to me and said, it's time to go. I didn't tell nobody. I didn't tell my mom. I didn't discuss it. Whoever knew. August 22nd or 23rd, right before my birthday, I left. I just up and left. Or I think a little bit after my birthday, something like that. Maybe on my birthday. I don't know. But somewhere around my birthday, August 25th, I left. And it's been about, 7 years or so? 6, 7 years. And I've been gone ever since. God led me here, and it by far was the best thing that could have ever happened to me. When I left, that place. One, I was living in the hood. Two, I was fornicating. Three, I was a CNA. Everything you could think of, wrong, wrong, wrong. Now, fast forward, I have my BSN. Okay. What I would have made working 100 hours in 2 weeks, I can make in 3 days. Blessing on blessing. I'm no longer fornicating. I'm married. Is my marriage the best thing right now? No. My marriage is under attack, but we're still here. But I'm married. I don't drink no more. I don't smoke no more. It's all glory go to God. So at that point in time, when I left, I was entering in a season called isolation. Once again, knew nothing about God, knew nothing, just going with faith. So I entered in isolation. God took me from all distractions. I moved to a place where I had no family, no friends. I knew nobody. I came here with 2 trash bags. I didn't have a job. I didn't have no money. I had nothing but God, my husband, and my kids, and my son. Okay, fast forward, had kids, marriage up and down, but like I said, we're still here. I have two beautiful daughters. I just got a call from God in August. It was finally time. He said, quit your job, quit everything. I said, we're back to this now. But I already know I did this before, and he transformed my life. So it was nothing for me to just, give it up. Even though I was a little bit like, because of the school part, because I love school, and it was always my dream to, I wanted to be a nurse practitioner, psychiatric nurse practitioner. And at this point, I think I only have like 7 months left until I finish up my master's. And I was like, wow. My job, I was like, what? Even I made a lot of money there, but it was a headache. I was a nursing supervisor. It was by far the worst job I've ever had in my life. But I'm at that point in my life. God has been speaking to me. I had to go on a 40-day fast. Oh, my phone is dying. I was supposed to put this on the charger. Oh, shoot. Yeah, I'm so sorry about that. I'm so sorry about that. This thing keep going in and out. But I'm trying to find my charger. So God had asked me to give up everything August 2024. So I gave a 2-week notice. My last day was August 19th. And then after that, I was doing like little agency jobs on the side, and finished up a few little shifts. And that was the last time I worked, was in August. We're currently going into December now, December of 2024. So September, October, November, December. It's been 4 months. I've been unemployed. My bills are paid. I want for nothing. I still got a coin to go shopping. I'm okay. I got gas in my car. Just filled my tank up. My kids is good. I got food in the refrigerator. I'm blessed. I don't know who needs to hear that. If God is calling you to do something, and it might seem like questionable, let's be honest. You're not supposed to question God. No, you're not. But we are human. We are